When last we left our heroes.
So I think last week we was loading up all them bikes we stole from that speeder gang, and I think we was going to interrogate one of them to find out information on this Warwick fellow.
Yes, do come take care of that. He is taking up quite a bit of space.
Merrick?
Yes, I will move.
Good cop, bad cop?
What is good cop?
Good answer.
Bad cop, worst cop?
Bad cop, airlock?
Tell me the Firefly scene where he puts Jane in the airlock and just starts having a conversation with them between the doors with it open a crack is not the coolest thing ever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait, weren't we going to talk to the shopkeeper first? That's what we were about to do, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think you guys were walking into the shop when we cut last.
That's
We
right.
ended it with Merrick being asked what his last name is.
Oh yeah, because we were talking about people have been asking for backstories from you guys. Which means they're actually listening to the show, which means you guys got to start doing work, and so flashback, Scooby-Doo flashback.
I'm not giving my backstory away for free.
No, you have to. You're specifically set up to be the mystery man. So, and we've already started delving into yours.
Oh yeah,
but Merrick remains a mystery. Shall we take a moment to possibly pull back the veil on him for a moment? Do you have a last name?
Do you know any other Merrick?
He's the Merrick.
Then why do you need last name? If you would confuse me with Merrick, you would come up with last name. But I see no other Merrick around.
His first name's Mayor. His last name's Rick.
Mayor Rick Sanchez.
How many names does the simple man need?
My advice is find the most complex and hard to pronounce Russian last name you can, Ryan. And then he won't ask for it again.
It's probably a really embarrassing name like Dwight or something, right?
No, it involves all the buttons on the calculator that you never use.
It's Russian, so it's got those weird hieroglyphic-y characters.
Yeah, and you turn it upside down, it says Merrick's boobs. Frank, you're a little tinny on the can there.
Tinny on the can. I don't know. I literally have done nothing different.
No, I know. Is it me? Does it sound? He's so close to the mic, and yet you sound like you're doing the Bane thing.
Oh, I thought you were trying to open up for a segue for a song.
Victory has defeated you.
I don't get it. Okay. Let's go back to the Clone Wars. No, we've seen those movies. We've watched that show, the cartoon. You never noticed in the cartoon that the guy that voice acted Anakin was actually a better actor than... Anyway. Just saying. Pre-Clone Wars. Has anyone ever taken a guess at Merrick's race or age?
Nope.
No.
Nope. I mean, only for when it's valuable to me.
Has he ever told you where he's from? What region of space?
Nope.
Nope.
We're in a very don't ask, don't tell business arrangement.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to show you a cutscene, and you'll all just have to take your headsets off because it's just between me, Merrick, and the audience then.
No, I want to know.
How about this? Being asked his last name as you walk into the repair shop, and Rahal starts going through the drill of, "Hi, I'm Rahal," and, doing the introductions and asking for what he wants is a very basic business transaction. Taking up the doorway, guarding his flank, as it were, and his six, Merrick begins reflecting upon the meaning of his name, much like a cat in a poetry book, and has a flashback all by himself. Like I said, he doesn't have to, if that's your policy, he doesn't have to expose it. But, Merrick, you can't help but a memory instilled by someone that you work under asking your name. We go back in time to a young Merrick who joined the militia, eager, lied about his age. A runt of a boy, barely 4.5 feet tall, trying to get into the military service in the distant, unknown regions of space. Going back to our KOTOR days, if you ever look at the Star Wars galactic map, everything fans out to the right. There's the center of the universe, a little bit to the right, it's Coruscant, and goes on and on and on and on, all this wonderful stuff out to the right to the outer rim. The left side is wild space and unknown regions. There's one book that covers it in this role system. And that's where we go now, to a paramilitant planet, where getting into the service puts bread on the table, ensures your family, much like an ancient USSR. No reason.
None at all.
A commander who runs a small desk office for an enlistment and recruitment section in the private sector, civilians, is looking up at an eager young boy who stands barely 4.5 feet tall, claiming to be the minimum age of his race to get in. Has all the paperwork signed, whether it's forged or whether it's legit, the customary gift, the bribe, the application fees all paid for, everything is in order. And yet the commander can't get over this young man's size. But what he lacks in stature, he certainly makes up for in enthusiasm.
I bring own gun. I bring my own. Much better than you give.
The young lad hoists up what's probably his father's rifle. Ah, I see you got a DL7, Class 6. That was a decent rifle back during the Civil War. Still, even if your papa told you how to shoot it, boy. No, there's no way you've lived the required cycles. I don't think you're one solar cycle over 15, let alone the required 21.
But my gun does not care about age or armor.
The man lets out a heavy sigh, looks down his desk. I understand times are tight, lad. And I understand that you're looking to put bread on your family's table, maybe even in your father's place. I won't ask what your personal needs are, or motivations. But I have to tell you, do you really understand what you're getting into? If I let you sign these forms, and he flicks something on his desk, and very sort of, let's say, not really adequate to the Rebellion era, nice blue spinning three-dimensional hologram pops up, just a very basic flat form, and it's projected to a white box that's sitting on the edge of the man's desk, but it is sort of like that projector stream. You see the blue light with the dust going through it. If I get you to sign that form, you'll be turning not just your life, but your body, your mind, and even possibly your spirit over to this region. Do you understand what that means, lad?
Of course. I do know that if I do not leave here and I do not sign that paper, I will go. And I will do what I do, regardless of who employs.
He looks at you shrewdly. He says, are you saying you'd make the 300-kilometer click and a half check, cross 4 borders into the next region, and sign up with the Northerners?
With an impressive resume, I assure you. I would have to modify it after today.
Their application process in the Northern Hemisphere is far worse than what we have here.
Indeed, you are required to have at least one confirmed enemy kill.
At this, the man pauses and regards the boy in a new light. Are you saying you've killed a sentient?
No.
I'm not talking about the Kabak cattle that roams the forests in the southern sector, and I'm not talking about the avionic flickbirds that fly over and nest on top of your barn.
No. As I said, I would have to modify my resume after today. As I've said, my gun does not care about age, does not care about armor, does not care about rank.
What do you care about, lad?
Credits.
Just then, a lieutenant busts into the recruitment office. Sir, the Northern Hemisphere, the region, it's been flooded with... He holds up a hand to immediately silence the lieutenant, pointing at the young lad. He comes over, and the commander just sort of holds his hand out for the young lad to sort of move over and wait in the waiting area, while he can have a private conversation with his subordinate at the desk. Young Merrick moves off, but can't help but overhear the harsh whisper of the young lieutenant. Sir, the Northern Hemisphere, they flooded regions 1, 3, and 14. If they take the factories, if they get that far behind the lines, we're done for, sir. Young man, thank you for your report. But, sir, thank you for your report. Now, return to your post. The two men glare at each other for a moment, a steely-eyed gaze. One overstepping his rank with the importance of his message, the other reminding the youngster of his place and protocol that must be followed, even in the face of overwhelming odds. Sir. Yes, sir. Snapping to attention, a salute. Turning on his heel, the young lieutenant marches out. As soon as he exits the building, his superior slowly leans back in his chair. His shoulders slump, his head bowed, shaking slowly. My God, if they take the factories, we are done for. It is no lie. Then suddenly, he remembers the young lad. Clearing his throat, he looks over. He says, lad, do you really want to serve this sector? Do you really want to enlist in the region, join our forces, and fight what might now obviously be a losing battle?
I need to lead by example.
There's an experimental program. They're looking for youngsters like yourselves, but orphans. You understand, in order for you to join, the only way for you to join is for me to say on paper that your family is dead, that you can have no further contact with them. Sure, he holds up a hand as the young boy raises, a question. Yes, there are ways you can send them money and keep them financially secure while you work for the region. He says, but you can have no contact. You must change your name. And I will register you as an orphan to the Soldier Supreme section. He makes the adjustments on his desk. He flicks up the file as the eager young man leans in and begins reading what's required.
So many papers, so many lines. Where's the bottom? Where do I sign?
The man just shrugs his head again, scrolls quickly, and points where the young lad should sign.
Sign.
Okay.
You have?
Pulling a data chip out of the side of his desk, he says, take this to the registration office in the next sector. They'll see to you from there. Good luck, son.
Excellent. Oh, check under your vehicle before you leave.
The young man turns and walks out briskly, not looking back. The commander, his eyebrows raised all the way through his hairline. Slowly the meaning of what the young man said to him about possibly disintegrating him in his car if he didn't get his way. Again, bowing his head, shrugging. A self-deprecating laugh escapes the man's lips. And he looks up at the sky through a solar panel that shows 2 burning suns. And he says, by the goddesses, it seems I would be damned one way or the other. And the scene fades out. Rahal.
What?
This run-down place, this shop, repair shop, if it can be called that, in a post-war broken city of Zara, holds little in the way of obvious supplies or parts or even anything the man's currently working on. But there are shelving units, there is open space, there is the appropriate oil stains and repulsor lift burns on the floor that you'd expect from such a place. Large man comes out of a secondary room, an Nemoidian, but quite tall and wide in the shoulder for one of his race, and introduces himself. As soon as I can find my notes. Feel free to stall at this point.
So Rahal walks into the shop, does the whole like check out everything, runs the finger across the shelf to see how dusty it is, you know, like this does not look like a legitimate establishment. No, it does not. And then goes and gives the shopkeeper an evil eye.
Okay.
Being sure to stare down his nose in his most imperial-seeming attitude.
All right. The man who stands as tall as Merrick, who's still back in the doorway with a wistful look in his eyes, but strangely just staring over at an empty shelf unit. The speeder repairman, the male Nemoidian, takes that last kind of step to close the intimidation gap and looks down at you, so he has to drop his chin.
You're telling me that a Nemoidian looks down on me? Wow, I'm really short.
Yeah. Well, I said this guy is very tall. Dude's like 6'5".
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just like freakishly tall for his race. He's big.
Okay. Then he would look down on me.
Yeah. Like I said, and Merrick's pretty big, so anyway. Yeah, looks down at you. And he says, "The name is Virgo, and there's no imperial presence here. Yeah, excuse me while I change accents. Is that legal? Is that is that legal? The name's Virgo, and there's no imperial presence. I just can't really get the Asian into this Nemoidian. I'm sorry. I'm still stuck in my cameo, my background thing.
Okay.
Hey,
there's no imperial presence here today. Stop. What do you do? Save me from
he
myself.
Needs a couple rounds of lion face and lemon face.
I just went from like yeah. Can I get
I mean, Jeff, you don't always have to have an accent or a character voice. Just go with the natural one.
It's Jeff. He needs an accent.
Yes, I do. I must. I really must.
So Rahal just kind of looks at the guy, looks at his stormtrooper outfit that's all blinged out, helmet under arm, looks at him and says, "What do you think this is, buddy?"
Really bad fashion choice. Still,
Right.
If you have Imperial or Republic credits or whatever, if your money is good, then it's legal.
I don't think you're in any position to be talking about legal here, buddy. So just answer me this. Do you guys always throw such a nice welcome reception to visitors on your world?
Depends if they spit and shat on my doorstep as soon as they walk in. I don't work for Imperials. Bugger off.
Not
Merrick,
very
good job.
nice, are you? Merrick, I think you might need to have a discussion with this guy.
As you say, boss.
Cutscene, there's a table laid out. Okay. Now you would think that Merrick was about to rough him up, but we know Rahal, never missing a chance to make credits. And suddenly the scene switches to the two men sitting at a greasy table having an arm wrestling contest. And very excited, Rahal is bouncing up and down betting on one of them. Merrick's trying not to be offended that it's not him.
Oh, I don't know, boss. This guy, he's really strong. I'm trying so hard. Ah!
Guy's got like a cybernetic arm. He just sits there looking bored. You just hear the servos going. Merrick's like pushing hard on it. It's not getting purchased, but it's not like I can gain anything on Merrick, but he's just kind of sitting there, sipping his coffee, just waiting for you to give up and get tired. Servos, don't get tired.
Ah!
Strength check. Would you like to use a force point?
Maybe.
I will find new and exciting ways to drain them from your characters. Oh, yes, I will.
Okay, that was a 10.
Okay. He starts screaming, not because he's putting in the oomph, but because the servo, there's the man's wrist joint kind of extends 2 inches, forcing Merrick's hand sort of like back an awkward angle, and then he does that bad wrist bend, you know how they curl in. And in pain, Merrick starts screaming as the servo, just starts slowly, inch by inch, centimeter by centimeter, start dropping his arm.
No, crush it.
Come on, big guy, you got this, man. You got this. Put your back into it. I got 50 creds on this.
We'll go skill challenge. That's 1 of 3. You must give me, 2 successes before a failure. Now 10 is not a failure; it's kind of a stalemate.
Okay.
But I do have the advantage.
17.
Very nice. Okay, drops the advantage, and we're back at par. So now that we're back at the neutral point, I need 2 successes before a failure.
Okay, so wait, I gotta catch my breath here. Ah! Oh, crap!
8.
No.
And boom! He puts your hand down on the table.
Oh no. Okay.
He pulls a lost in time bit. They wait till the last second where you think you're winning or whatever, or suddenly doing well and let your guard down and just poof, down goes the arm. I blame Rahal because, he knows you're right-handed and the guy's got this freaking massive cybernetic arm. We didn't see it under his, his sleeve and his big working gloves, and then we ended up, yeah. Anyway, hey, Rahal, though, you just won 10 credits, buddy.
Sweet.
Merrick owes you 10 credits.
Oh, gotta get him paid somehow. If it's in debt, it's the same as.
It's okay. I have a back on ship.
All right.
Buy me a drink at the next cantina.
I get to real drink.
All right. I guess you guys aren't Imperials. You didn't do anything to cheat, and you actually didn't bet on your own guy. He looks at you like every Imperial I've ever met is arrogant and a weasel. He looks you up and down with your mousy features.
Hey, I resemble that remark.
It's a good look, Rao. Do not be offended.
Yeah. Spin up the helmet on my finger. So anyways, like I was saying, do you guys always throw such a warm welcoming party when you outsiders come into your neighborhood?
Times have been tough since the war. It's hard to trust people.
I'm just trying to find an old friend here.
An old friend?
Yeah, guy goes by the name of Warwick.
As soon as you say the name, the guy just narrows his eyes. Don't know him.
Fair enough. Shouldn't expect everyone to know the guy, but I figured you look like the kind of person who was a little more connected than the average. Are you sure you ain't never heard of Warwick?
Have you come to my business just to socialize and lose credits, or do you actually have something for me, to repair for real credits?
Oh, right. We confiscated a few of these swoop bikes that some of the folks are rolling around here in town. I was more wondering if you'd be interested in maybe picking up 1 or 2 for pots.
Wait a minute. You took bikes from Kezra's gang?
Oh, I didn't stop to ask names. They started shooting, and I'm sorry, but my big friend here don't take kindly to that, and neither does my other friends.
Don't worry, the owners will not come back for them.
This planet isn't controlled by Nemodia. We're no longer an official Nemodian colony. It's really controlled by no one except possibly, and he lowers his voice in big stage whisper and he says, the Huts.
Love the Huts. They got some money.
He looks at you like you suddenly grew a second head. He's like, Kezra had business with them, and now you've probably pissed her off.
Oh, I don't really care how pissed off she is. She's dead.
He looks at you with new respect. He looks at Merrick, possibly contemplating that, Merrick faked everything the whole time and just let him win.
So, like I was saying, we got a few bikes kicking around if you're interested in picking up a couple for pots.
All right. It'd take me little while probably to fix them up. Maybe I could ask some of my friends if they know this. What'd you say his name was?
Warwick.
Yeah, if they know this guy.
Well, I'd be much obliged if you did.
Sure. Just bring the bikes.
And I'll flip him 50 creds. Thanks for your time, bud.
No
Catch
problem.
ya.
Big smile at Merrick and he does like the little 2 finger off the temple salute with his cybernetic arm. Only he doesn't drop the actual elbow. It's just the wrist kind of cheats and does the servo, goes, and salutes you at a weird angle.
Tip of the head.
Okay. So where to now, guys?
Mosey on back to the ship. Pull Poser aside for a sec. Hey, Poser. You seem to have taken a bit of an affinity to these speeder bikes and stuff. Why don't you take a couple of them, the worst ones we picked up, bring them on over to that shop over there and see if you can get a good price. Tell them Rahal sent you.
Fine. Not like I had anything better to do. Not like I had my own bike to work on, but no. Oh, no, sorry.
Hey, plenty of time for that when we're headed back.
I would seriously run over to your house and like shake your hand, dude, if you just call him young man. Like, put him in his place like you're his dad. Listen, young man. You have plenty of time for that later. You can work on your own projects right now. You can help around the house. Take these bikes over to the old man chick. I seriously thought that's where you're going. I thought Aiden was baiting you, doing the typical son, man. I don't know. Is it me?
No,
or...
I would never do that. I'm not that patronizing.
Oh, okay. You don't have kids.
Fine.
It's okay.
Nope.
Nope.
Well, that I know of.
Oh, boo. Oh, no.
Anywho, so Poser will
shoot to the far side of some touring Canadian. There's some little craggly, messy-haired Matt Witt offspring spawn going, "Father, am I different?" No, you're just the same as we found you by the side of the road.
It's terrible. No, I was talking about Rahal, not me.
Oh, sorry.
I'm careful where I put my seeds.
Okay, moving on.
was trying to, but no.
Sorry, go ahead.
So Poser will leave Zin to his work because Zin and Poser were working on the bikes. He will put his tools back in the duffel bag, shove it to the side, and then inspect the bikes, find the worst ones, like the worst 2 or 3, and then bring them down and go from there.
Okay. It's more than kind of a one-guy job if you want to have, if you just want to fire up the repulsor lifts that are failing and, and to kind of push them along. I guess you could chain them together.
Yeah,
just
I got plenty of chain.
Yeah, and you're like, I haven't used this. Look, buddy's blood, sweat, and tears are still on that last chain you used. Remember your last prisoner? Yeah, good times. How did Matt end up with the dark side point? Not you, Mr. Ton of Chain, Mr. Synthrope?
Because I just don't give it an F.
Yes.
You don't give a force?
Okay. My scruples are lacking.
No.
Yeah.
So what's old man Zin and Mr. Dr. Leth doing? I know Leth was in the lab. I'll get back to him in a second. Where was Zin floating around? Were you helping Poser?
Yeah, I was in the speeder bike bay. I guess that's what we're going to call it, or I'm going to call it. And was just working on some of them, just trying to put them all back together.
Okay.
Get them sellable.
There's no way that mic is on. I think you're being picked up by your headset, man.
Okay.
Here, tap the headset mic.
Nope.
Okay.
I think you just maybe got to get in closer. I don't know.
All right, turn up the game. I don't know. Is it just me? Like,
No, I hear it too.
Yeah.
I hear it too.
he sounds like he's far away from the mic.
How about that?
That's better.
Oh, wow.
There we go.
Holy crap. Really?
Wow. These things are
Sensitive.
unidirectional. I just spun it so the button was facing me.
Now, if you've got it on the cardio pattern, the back mic should shut off and it should just be the front one.
Yeah, I don't know what it's on.
Okay.
Way better now.
But yeah.
1,000 times better.
Sorry, you were saying? Edit.
Edit. Yeah, I was just working in the cargo bay that's got all the speeder bikes in it, just trying to basically get them up to a salvageable, sellable condition.
Okay. Well, that will cut, the sort of bulk cost and bulk, type of thing. So you want to give Poser a hand here and stay with him and chain the bikes and off you go, or are you just going to send him on your way?
Yeah, no, I'll definitely go help him.
Okay.
I mean, how many are we looking at selling or getting rid of?
I don't know. I figure we should probably keep 4 for you guys. I have mine, and then sell whatever's left.
So it'd be like 2 for sale.
So 2.
Yeah, but like I said, you can take the best ones and let this guy fix them up, save you time and money, and keep them for yourself,
Yeah.
right? Or you can give him the shitty ones and just see what he can do for them, or sell them for parts or whatever, you know.
Yeah, we're just going to give him the 2 worst ones, I think.
Yeah, because between the 4 of us, the doctor, myself, Zin, and Merrick, we can fix them up, no problem.
Okay. Dr. Lath,
Yes,
you are working away in the lab with Arthur.
indeed.
Did we finish your skill challenge or are we still decrypting Dr. Evil's notes about that stimulant?
I do believe that particular skill challenge has been completed.
Right. And then we moved you on to something else. You were doing your own research. You wanted to do some crafting and stuff. You talked about when we were talking about you leveling, you were talking about how you can modify the ship, you can modify weapons, and, everybody wanted to hug you and all that kind of thing with your new skill set. And I'm assuming we're burning time for you. That's so when you suddenly get to a point where you're doing dice rolls and go, aha, this is my new thing, and I ask you for time, you can say, well, I spent hours here, days here, hyperdrift, that kind of thing, bum, bum, bum. But
Indeed, in my spare time, I am tinkering.
Right, so while you are in the lab currently,
Well, if I remember correctly, at the current moment, I was strapping down our intrepid interviewee, and I believe I had made a perception check or something along those lines for the Bacta tank.
Right. So who did we bag and tag?
The sun.
Oh yeah, the swoop gang guy. Okay, sorry. I was thinking of that other footage we shot, and it was like, you guys don't have your hands on work yet. He was just looking for him. Okay. Okay. So is this guy going to be your guinea pig? You going to test stuff on him? The pheromones, the hormones, the plant stuff, the stimulant itself? Or you have a live,
Oh, certainly not. I don't want to use him as a test subject. I have plenty of those already. No. He is just being an interviewee. We are strapped down to a table, and eventually he's going to be interrogated politely.
Camera shoots to the mess hall while Merrick is enjoying a sandwich, belts, and he gives off a green gas, which sort of takes the hand's form and tries to desperately claw its way back into his belly before fading into nothingness with sort of like, as soon as he says that. I get lots of test subjects. Merrick unaware, just, reading through something and just
Nom 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 nom.
Yeah. So it's Arthur that suddenly pulls away. You're doing something very delicate. You and Arthur to focus. You've got the visor on and the mega goggles down. You're wearing very fine repository equipment and gloves, and very, very tool, just right in there. And the astromech Arthur is backing you, and he suddenly pulls back and turns his head and does a little beep beep. Master, did you hear that?
What is it?
I'm telling you, here's something. And he goes over and he kind of circles the room, and little attachment pops out of his head and a little radar dish, starts scanning for listening for a radio signal or something, and then just kind of gives up, comes back to assisting you.
Woo!
Have you perhaps developed a bug?
I beg your pardon, Master. Pulls back from the work looking offended and is dragged away. But you did notice he suddenly put distance between you, like he doesn't want to be examined or, questioned. I'm fine. My last self-diagnostic ran 110%. Thanks to your modifications, Master. I can't extend my middle leg, but thanks to your modifications, internal diagnostics are running at 110%.
Well, of course they are. At any rate, I need you to continue. Focus, please.
Yes, Master. Anyway, so he gets back into it, and you can hear his head spinning, does the 180, keeps looking behind him, like he's not paying attention. He doesn't move this time, but he's reacting to something else in the room. Keeps turning his head. What the, we're working, and again, what the, that kind of thing.
Do I hear anything at all?
No, not yet. And then, getting caught up to said perception check, you hear coming from the back wall.
Well, isn't that interesting? Okay. And I get up and proceed to examine the back wall.
Okay. The back wall here. Seeing this?
Yes.
Okay. Is the back to tank that had the guy in it. And the modification, the extra fuel and everything, and all the lines and whatnot. But it sounds like a thumping or a rustling in the wall. Like something hits it. Like someone's in the adjacent room and slams the door and there's the pressure and the wall goes boom. Or, someone's banging on the wall.
So it doesn't sound like it's coming from the back to tank or the fuel. It sounds like it's coming from behind.
Well, it didn't sound like somebody was in a tank going bloop. It just sounded like something struck the panel of the Durasteel wall.
Okay. Is there a way that I can get around to examine the opposite side of said wall?
Yeah, if you want to go around the ship, like you can see the layout here, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere in this area it's making noise. Do you want to go up and examine inside here first, or you want to go out, go around, and go into the port engine room? Took me a moment. I went to the Valley School of Ship, where starboard is port and port is starboard, front, aft, and I just, I remember them from my days on the river with the riverboat, but...
Well, for now I would want to examine the room as I'm in.
Okay. So place him anywhere you're, Arthur, gives you shit going, hey, we're doing something here. He told me not to move and you bugger off, kind of thing. So, can I have another perception check, sir? Or would you like to take 10 because you have time? And
Oh, I would take 10, I suppose.
Okay, what have you got? 10 gives you what?
10 for perception gives me 20.
Okay. You find a secret door. Because 20 is sorry. You find that this panel isn't welded on. It's bolted on to something like a frame, giving the impression that it's been the original panel's been removed, and this they've put in a frame to make up the difference, and then they've bolted this to it to cover it because the new panel's slightly smaller.
Well, I promptly remove said paneling.
Okay. So you start unscrewing the panel, and you see a safe room, a cubby, a space which total space would be like the one square that you're standing in, that 5x5 or that 3 meter square or whatever, but it's on an angle. So the triangle is elongated. So the top left of the square is cut off, but the triangle of the room bleeds into the bottom right of the next square, as those that can see the map. Anyway, little safe room. And you see it is completely filled with stuff. There is some kind of hole attachment for a refresher that pipes into the lines and gets buried with those lines that go. There's an entertainment console. There's a whack of permanent ration food, all that kind of stuff. And there is an alien body lying on a makeshift sort of, like roll mat kind of thing.
Is the body moving?
No.
I quickly scan it with my health check scanner.
Okay. He's hooked up through the wall to the back to tank and the fuel system and everything, and it looks like he's in some kind of induced hibernation. So that and it's on like a timer, so he'll sleep for like a 24 or 48 hour or like 60 hour cycle, wake, and, add nourishment, replenish fluids, exfoliate his pores, and, use the relief hose, maybe stay awake and use his mind with the entertainment center, and then go promptly back to hibernation. Because the jerry-rigged sort of system or whatever, runs off of the main tanks and everything, and it has a certain amount. Anyway, it's doable. It's jerry-rigged. It's very dangerous. But he does have the sort of, way shut-in lifestyle you could exist. But this would only buy you a couple months. Like, this would not, I don't think he could do years in here. He's probably been here for weeks or months due to the smell of him and everything. But
is there a way I could tell how long until it next awakens him?
It looks like he's due in like within 72 hours.
Excellent. Okay.
Unless you want to pull him out of there. Now, that's assuming he's alive. Like I said, the equipment has him in hibernation. He might have died in sleep. He might be, you know what I mean?
Well, I was using my medical scanner to see it. It should be...
Oh, okay, yeah. Sorry, it registers him as a life form. The heavy durasteel that's on all sides of him, like, shields him. If someone scanned the ship, he would not be picked up.
Well, in that case, I was going to leave him, but I suppose if there's a possibility he may be in danger, I suppose I should remove him.
Hypocritical oath and everything.
The very same.
I believe it's the Hippocratic oath, but, you know, hypocritical oath is like, well, the droid saw me find something. I guess it better not be, you know.
Oh, I don't care if the droid sees me.
Yeah, mine white.
I was planning on bringing the rest of the crew in to meet our stowaway at the same time. But if you could possibly be in danger, I suppose I should hurry that along.
Remind me, Matt, for an encounter alone between you and Arthur, and he just gets he gets you alone, and Arthur's very, very agitated. And he's like, Captain, I can't dial number 3 in my comm, and 7s have been removed from my digital calendar. I don't want any more upgrades from Dr. Left. Please buy me from him. You know, my calendar has no 7s. My phone has no 3s. You know. Anyway,
and there is good reasons for such a thing. Needed space.
This man's insane! Save me! Save me!
He's deleted Thursdays, for those in the know. Sorry, so Leth, you get this guy out of his little cubby and start...
If it seems like, upon examination, if it seems it could be possible to remove him without, like, damaging him...
You can remove him from the hibernation, and he might just wake up on his own, or he might just stay in a permacoma. This system is set up to put him in a coma, pretty much, and then is set up to stim him, you know, clear, wake up time, you know. The green juice stops going in and the red juice goes in. Here's the red pill. Wake up, Neil. That kind of thing.
Okay, so it shouldn't be too difficult to replicate the stimulants that you...
No, yeah, if you want to wake him right now. Or you can just take a sample from the tank, right?
Oh, no, I would take a sample and then wait.
But you're not sure how much this thing is programmed. Like, without taking all that stuff out and shutting it down and opening it up, you wouldn't know how much is allocated to this species. Anyway.
Well, in that case, I suppose I could simply seal up the wall from the outside.
You ain't getting out, fucker.
He gets out a spray foam, you know, it just starts expanding foam. You know, shh. What you doing there, Leth? Oh, just solving a problem.
But always just straight up exit.
Now, not a permanent solution. Yeah.
I was getting a nasty
He doesn't seem like he wants to go anywhere, so... May as well keep it that way for now until I'm more prepared to deal with him.
Sure, but if he wakes up, like I said, the timer could be any time within the next 72 hours, just because of the crappy setup. But it will stem him, you know, in that time frame. If the ship were to like take damage, or if auxiliary systems were routed away, then this thing's on like automatic, like, oh, wake the guy so it doesn't kill it. You know what I mean? Like there's all kinds of conditions that could affect the ship and auxiliary power systems that he's hooked up to that, you know what I mean?
Oh, certainly. But I believe at one point in time I would have enough. If I removed him on my own and with proper precautions, I could then examine the species and determine what would be the proper amount of stimulants. But I just simply do not have the time at the moment.
Okay. So moral compass aside, shuffling him the deck of projects, he doesn't rate top project, understood, and we shelf him for later. Is that what I'm getting out of this conversation?
He seems like he's at least relatively alive. The ship seems to be keeping him that way. Yeah, no, he's an adult male, prime subject of a species. He has cybernetic implants and attachments. Some of this stuff is wired too, so it actually like there's like a basic monitor, and I don't mean like a very complicated Alderaanian monitor. I mean like a pit bull from Fallout, where it's just like a basic green display, and there's the ping, ping, you know, 3 lines going by. There is a heartbeat, there is a brainwave, and you're not sure what the third one is. Maybe it has something to do with cybernetics. You know, there is electrical charge. Certainly worth more of an investigation at a later date.
Okay, so you just reattach the screws and foam them in, or don't mess with it, right? Now, some of that stuff I was talking about is because of your medical knowledge, not because you took the time to inspect this specific setup. You would just assume it would be foolish not to have him on some kind of ship system where if power went down, he just wouldn't die. You know, auxiliary power would wake him.
Of course.
That's a medical professional assumption. But with all the jerry rigging, someone went to a lot of trouble to use like jerry rig simple parts to do something really complex.
Considering he seems to have survived this long, and there's no reason at a glance to see that the machine that such a setup would be failing anytime soon. I do believe I have at least a couple days.
Of course. So back to the table then.
Indeed.
Okay.
Back to work.
All right. Did you find critters in the wall, Master? What was banging around?
A critter. Continue work.
Okay. We'll go back to work. The scene pulls out through the hull of the ship, showing us nicely parked. And there's people encroaching on our position, taking note of the ship, keeping an eye on us, slipping into the shadows, going somewhere to report that there's a new ship in town. And we'll see you next time